These are good, Frida. I love them.
You were probably painting better when you were 12.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 most famous couples in history.
I have only one master. My love for you.
For this list, we're looking at the most iconic couples who have ruled the past several centuries. If we missed any of your favorite top duos, let us know in the comments below. Number 10. John F. and Jacqueline Kennedy. This is the couple that turned the presidency into a true matter of celebrity. When John F. Kennedy was elected to the presidency in 1960, he and his wife Jackie quickly became one of the most talked about first couples in history. Jacqueline Kennedy was seen as a fashion icon during her husband's ascendancy, and together, the two of them brought media attention to the more personal sides of themselves that politics hadn't seen much of before. Between John's numerous alleged affairs and Jackie's front-facing love of fashion, art, and culture, people couldn't get enough. Add in their tragic ending, and it's no wonder they went down in history.
That night and every night since I prayed to die. Oh God, let me be with my husband.
Number 9. Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom was not the only English monarch to resist marriage, but she was one of the notable monarchs to truly marry for love.
Let's take a little tour together and visit Scotland. I hear if any part of Britain is like Germany, it's the Highlands of Scotland.
Yes, we must one day.
The Queen reigned from 1837 until her death in 1901. She met Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha in 1836, and although she liked him, she felt she was too young to marry. That would all change 4 years later in 1840, when the couple was finally wed.
And marry you.
And marry me.
The night after their wedding, Victoria wrote exuberant words of love and affection for her new husband in her diary. Their partnership continued until Prince Albert's death in 1861. After the love of her life died, Victoria wore black for the rest of her life.
I'm so sorry. I thought I was going to lose you.
Number 8. Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo. Just because a couple gets married does not mean their relationship is a conventional one. Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, for instance, were anything but conventional.
Diego, you can't lose. Forget about artistic integrity. You've done better ones than this, and you'll do more.
The famous Mexican painters first married in 1929. Throughout the rest of their tumultuous romance, they would both engage in infidelity multiple times.
That model, huh?
Yes. He was just a that's all.
And even divorced 10 years into their marriage, only to get remarried a year later. Things were not easy for the artists. Rivera had a terrible temper and once even cheated on Kahlo with her younger sister Christina. When the couple did remarry, however, they stayed together until Kahlo's death in 1954 and were some of the country's most famous figures.
Comrades, colleagues, and friends forever.
Number 7. Napoleon Bonaparte and Joséphine de Beauharnais.
Perhaps you would like to dance with me?
I would like to try.
Up until she met Napoleon Bonaparte, most knew the soon-to-be Empress Joséphine as Rose or Marie Rose. She only became Joséphine de Beauharnais after marrying her first husband, Alexandre de Beauharnais. After Alexandre's passing, she would marry Bonaparte 2 years later in 1796. Napoleon was deeply infatuated with Joséphine, but evidence of her feelings for him is rather conflicting, and she almost immediately began an affair after their marriage.
You are the loveliest woman here. Do you know that? You don't even have the advantage of being naked.
This enraged her husband and prompted him to engage in an affair of his own. After years of back and forth and with no heir in sight, Napoleon and Joséphine divorced in 1810.
You are impetuous.
Impatient.
Do you want to be my lover?
Forever.
Then Barras would have his way. Barras the procurer. And I would feel like a pawn. Or worse.
Number 6. Shah Jahan and Mumatz Mahal. Imagine loving someone so much you build a giant ivory mausoleum to be their final resting place. Well, meet Shah Jahan and his chief consort Mumatz Mahal. If that second name sounds familiar to you, it should. Mahal was Jahan's favorite wife, and after Mahal died during childbirth, Jahan had the famous Taj Mahal built as her final resting place. Although Jahan had other wives, he reportedly showed the most affection to Mahal.
मैं मर जाऊं तो मेरी तुरबत यहीं बनाइएगा।
ऐसा न कहो बानो। यहाँ हमारी मोहब्बत की यादगार एक ऐसा महल बनेगा जिसकी मिसाल सारी दुनिया में न होगी।
They had a whopping 14 children together, and when Jahan died, he was buried next to her in the Taj Mahal. Number 5. Jean-Paul Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir. Here's a marriage of the minds. Simone de Beauvoir is perhaps best known for her dissertation, The Second Sex, while Jean-Paul Sartre was an important voice in the existentialist movement. But you might not know that these two philosophers had an open relationship with one another from 1929 until Sartre's death in 1980.
Je pense qu'aimer, ça n'est pas vouloir posséder, en effet. Je pense qu'aimer, c'est vouloir créer avec un autre être des liens qui ne sont pas des liens de possession, au sens où on possède, je sais pas moi, les vêtements qu'on porte ou ce qu'on mange.
When the two began seeing each other, they agreed that their relationship would be about connecting their souls more than anything else.
Mais ma relation avec Sartre était telle que, tout de même sur une base plus intellectuelle que précisément institutionnelle, familiale ou quoi que ce soit.
They were not exclusive and allowed each other to take other lovers, but something always drew them back to one another. They shared their work, and you can sometimes spot bits of one in the writings of the other.
Pas dans l'existentialisme sartrien, dans l'existentialisme de M. Gabriel Marcel, oui. Mais dans l'existentialisme de Sartre, tel qu'il est défini dans L'être et le néant, tel qu'il va l'être dans le prochain ouvrage que Sartre va donner incessamment chez Gallimard, qui s'appelle Critique de la raison dialectique.
Number 4. Anne Boleyn and King Henry VIII.
Her Majesty expects me.
Later.
Who was that, Your Majesty?
While Anne Boleyn wasn't the first of King Henry VIII's wives, and nor would she be the last, she is probably the most influential and most known today.
I've dreamt of this moment a long time. You must know I desire you with all my heart.
The king met Anne Boleyn when he was still married to Catherine of Aragon and was taken with her immediately. Anne would not sleep with him while he was still married, so Henry literally changed the religious course of an entire nation so he could get divorced. Things didn't end well for Anne Boleyn, who was eventually accused of adultery, treason, and incest, and beheaded as a result.
Fetch my sword!
Her daughter, Elizabeth I, went on to be arguably the country's most famous monarch. Number 3. John Keats and Fanny Brawne. John Keats has written some of the most romantic poems in history, but his life was tragically cut short when he died of tuberculosis at 25. There was one woman who was left more distraught at his loss than most, and that was Fanny Brawne.
Mama! I can't breathe!
Keats and Brawne fell in love when they were tenants in the same house. They wanted to marry, but circumstance kept them apart. As a struggling poet who wasn't recognized for his talents while he was alive, Keats had nothing to offer her. He did, however, write Brawne numerous love letters that are some of the most romantic words you will ever read.
I have two luxuries to brood over in my walks: your loveliness and the hour of my death.
After his death, Brawne stayed in mourning for 6 years.
If poetry does not come as naturally as leaves to a tree, then it had better not come at all.
Number 2, Marie and Pierre Curie. This partnership was radioactive, if we do say so ourselves. Marie Curie was a trailblazing scientist in the fields of physics and chemistry, and the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. Her husband Pierre was also her partner in all matters science and research.
But you're a scientist of some renown.
Well, and I'm asking you to share my renowned, yet basic space with me.
Marie would accomplish yet another impressive feat when the pair became the first married couple to win a Nobel Prize. Although things started off rocky between them, as Marie was Pierre's student and did not return his advances at first, things turned out for the best, and the two ended up having a long marriage.
Pierre once said to me that he couldn't imagine life without me. And I never said anything back.
Their partnership, both professional and personal, was by all accounts a happy one, characterized by mutual respect, collaboration, and a shared passion for scientific discovery.
But you're right. I do look at you in a certain way. And sometimes, I have the feeling you look at me the same way back.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. Juan and Eva Perón. Don't cry for them, Argentina. Gertrude Stein and Alice B. Toklas, the lovers of the Parisian avant-garde.
It is a little difficult to read with the car bouncing up and down.
Should I slow down?
Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier III. Princess was her role of a lifetime.
Louis XIV failed to take Monaco. Napoleon failed to take Monaco. De Gaulle will fail to take Monaco. No matter what happens here tonight, stop drinking. You need to keep your wits about you.
John Lennon and Yoko Ono, a creative partnership that overtook everything.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice day.
F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald, a free-spirited literary couple for the ages.
Darling, you're too sensitive.
You like my story, but he hates me.
Please, old sport, you make matters extremely difficult.
I'm jumpy. Suddenly, I don't like the atmosphere here anymore.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Cleopatra and Mark Antony.
Almost 3 years. Is it possible that you become even more beautiful?
Almost 3? At law? Time has passed so quickly.
While Cleopatra had a couple of love affairs that could end up on this list, including one with Julius Caesar himself, nothing beats her love story with Mark Antony. The two had previously met while Cleopatra was still romantically involved with Caesar, but 10 years later, she would wow Mark Antony with a grand entrance that would win his heart.
From the first instant I saw you, entering Rome on that monstrous stone beast, shining in the sun like a little gold toy. Oh, I envied Caesar.
Unfortunately, political struggles and war would ultimately ruin them. Complications led Cleopatra to fake her death, causing Mark Antony to actually bring about his own demise. Broken-hearted, Cleopatra would soon follow in his steps.
Now, we'll begin a dream of my own, which will never end.
That's right, you're looking at the original Romeo and Juliet. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.